Oh, there's a lot to talk about. I usually don't go live till 11 a.m. my time, so I've gone live early. It's Monday morning here in Sydney. It's 7:30 in the morning. Mother's Day was yesterday, so first and foremost, happy Mother's Day to. I don't get a lot of girls watching the channel, but a lot of you boys, you got moms, you got sisters, you got daughters, you got wives. So tell them happy Mother's Day. Um, it's because of them why we're here, right? I have a special relationship with my mom. So I was on the phone with her earlier. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. Now, obviously, let's just start with Emanuel Navarrete versus Charly Suarez. I will wait a little bit before we really get into the crux of it because it's still a developing situation. Video, if you're watching right now, just hit the like button. It's why we're growing, because you guys tune in, you guys like the videos, you comment, you share, and that's how we get the algorithm, and that's how we're spreading the message of what we do on the channel. I do my best to be non-opinionated in terms of boxing. We cover all the fights. Guys, we did, if you followed the betting this weekend, I hit a 14-leg parlay. So I hit every pick except some of the props. Murataya, Lubin, Navarrete, Kakache, and Martinez all won. That was 4-1. 1,000 gets you 4,000. We hit that. We covered that. My locks of the week, which was about a 2-1. Katsarakis, Nick Flaz, Murataya, all money line. We hit that. And I put my wins in the community section so you can take a look at that. But yeah, it was a great week for the last few weeks. We've been hitting a lot. Now, it's one of those, the Navarrete-Charly Suarez decision, we'll just get into that right now. And luckily for me and all of you guys who picked him on our gambling, luckily they gave him a technical decision. Now, I just rewatched it. I watched it in live. I thought the guys, I thought Porter did a good job doing the fight. It was a great fight. It was an exciting fight. We know that he got cut in the 6th, and then it got stopped as soon as the 8th ended. Now, I've been getting a lot of messages on the breakdown analysis of the Navarrete versus Suarez video I did earlier in the week, and I don't know if that's because YouTube was putting up an algorithm, but a lot of the Filipino fans were pissed, saying that it should have been a stoppage. How do you guys see that going? I'm not mad. Look, there's a lot to cover there because they called it a headbutt. They called the cut due to a headbutt. And everybody is saying that if it would have been due to the punch when the fight got stopped, then you give Suarez the TKO victory, which I agree. Was Suarez winning that fight? No, he wasn't. I watched it multiple times. Navarrete was doing what he wanted with Suarez. Navarrete's unorthodox style. Even, he does, like I told you guys last week, he does everything wrong, but he makes it work for him. And, Suarez had his moments. Do I want to see the rematch? 100%. I want to see the immediate rematch. I think that's a great matchup. Who knows how those last rounds, how the middle of the championship rounds would have went. But it's not like Suarez was up on the cards, right? I understand why his fans are upset. But I told you guys last night, multiple sources, Noonan Boy Promotions, the Ring Magazine posted this morning that the California Commission is going to overturn that from a victory for Navarrete and a loss for Suarez to a no contest. Now, even when I posted that, people were salty and Filipino fans were upset, saying that, oh, the fix is in, it should have been a TKO victory. I'm like, well, a no contest is better than a loss. And I think either way, we're going to see that rematch. Those styles together were excellent. Navarrete looked like he was 2 weight classes above Suarez. I think both of those guys could have used, went to the body a bit more. They were both headhunting, but it makes for an exciting fight. And you see the fans. Navarrete, the thing that you can't say about Navarrete, he would have fought on. He 100% would have fought on. And this is why his fans love him. This is why he's one of my favorite fighters to watch, because he gives you everything when he fights. He's a guy in the gym that you would just say he sells out. You can tell he spars that way. You can tell he trains that way. You can tell he lives his life that way. He doesn't really take care of, he's on record. He doesn't take care of his body. Look, he's not ripped. He should be ripped. He's not. He lives like, they call him vaquero. He's a cowboy. So when you watch him fight, it's exactly what you get. Suarez, this Filipino soldier, kudos to him. He's tough as nails. We'll see how, like I said, up until that cut happened, Suarez had his moments, but he wasn't winning the fight. You know what I mean? And granted, if that was from a punch, and I think it was, I'm telling you, it was from a punch. And on record, we can't make that. Boxing needs to change some stuff. You know, they had instant replays involved. You heard the broadcast team, Porter thought it was definitely from a punch. Now, it's up to the commission in that moment to say it was from a headbutt or a punch. And depending on which way they ruled, this is why you either got the TKO stoppage for Suarez or the technical decision for Navarrete based on what they conclude in the moment. Now, that has nothing to do with Navarrete. I see a lot of people hating on him. Dude, the dude would have fought until his arms fall off. So it wasn't one of these things where he was losing the fight gets stopped, and he's gifted a decision. Now, was the decision wrong? Like I said, I feel that was from a punch. And if it's from a punch and the fight gets stopped from a punch, it's a TKO. But the fans can't do anything, the fighters can't do anything. All we can do is, I know Navarrete has a 2-month suspension. It's pretty much universal when you have a cut like that. So he's going to be suspended for a few months, and then I think the immediate rematch should happen. He got hit. Do you feel like he was robbed of a victory? I think Suarez was turning on. Yeah, see, Jitterbug. Suarez was coming on. He was coming on, and this is his style. And it would have been interesting to see. We know Navarrete had a bad weight cut. It would have been interesting to see if he could have kept that cardio up. But I started seeing Suarez figure him out a little bit. It was unfortunate because it was a great fight. And it always seems, guys, every week we have one of these chats with some controversy. You know what I mean? That's boxing for you. Hello, what is this live about? Joe Syriac. Clean punch, I agree. Guys, if you're tuning in, like this video. If you're subscribing, comment, share it. I want to know your thoughts. It's interesting to see, though, the heart of both fighters. I felt Suarez around the 4th round was starting to figure out that herky-jerky style. He started landing that uppercut. He threw a lot of rapid punches, though. Suarez, I'm not going to call him a dirty fighter. It's just when you're fighting a guy like Navarrete who's herky-jerky, does all this, off-putting movements you can't really train for, you're going to throw punches at different angles. But Suarez got warned, I think, in the 1st or 2nd for rapid punches. The ref actually broke him up. And then there were multiple headbutts. It wasn't just that one headbutt. He did get headbutted, but it was a clean punch. It's partially Navarrete. He has a tell. So when you're watching Navarrete, he does this a lot. He always ducks to that one side, and that's exactly what Suarez landed, an uppercut to that, a hook. And I guarantee if you ask Suarez, he would say he saw that. You pick up when you're fighting a guy, you pick up on their tells, you look for things, and that's one of the telltale things Navarrete always does, this, and boom, he just got caught with a perfectly timed shot. If Suarez was more athletic, he would have an easier time. Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of ifs, but sometimes the best boxers aren't the most athletic. I saw a scratch with the glove, not a punch. I saw a scratch with the glove. Go, Randy, look at the last short. The last short I put up was last night, and I slow-moed it down, and you could see the punch land flush from the angle that I put, but it did scratch. I saw a scratch with the glove, not a punch. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Are you saying that I'm Navarrete and I go up, or I'm Suarez and I go up to Navarrete and I go like this? What do you mean you saw a scratch with the glove? It was a punch. They're not scratching each other. They're punching each other. I think Navarrete will go up to lightweight. Yeah, he looked way bigger. I mean, I wonder what he was weighing in on fight night, because he looked 2 weight classes above Suarez. That was another thing. Suarez was having a difficult time early on dealing with that size and that pressure, that relentless pace. Anybody out, I know a lot of Suarez fans are talking trash online, but any true boxing fan, there's nothing negative you could say about Navarrete's fan-friendly style. My beef with Navarrete, I told you last week, was, I kind of, and this is just me being a coach and me being a stickler for discipline, I would like to see Navarrete with a strength and conditioning program. I would like to see Navarrete with a nutritionist. I would like to see him maybe take his career more like a samurai, sort of like MMA. One of my favorite MMA fighters back in the day was George St. Pierre. This guy was an epitome of sleep, train, breathe martial arts. And you saw it in his physique. You saw it in his outcomes. When you look at Navarrete at 130 pounds, you don't even see any cuts. And you see him walking around before he does his weight cuts, and he has a belly. But that a lot of fighters, it's boxing. They call him the cowboy for a reason. But like I said, I wonder what he would look like. I wonder what his power, he already has pop. I wonder what his power would look like. He already has cardio for days. He trains above Mexico City, in elevation. There's American fighters who will train, who will go to Colorado where it's really the air is thin, just to train and mimic what a lot of these Mexican fighters get just because of the topography of their country. Training in elevation, then when you fight in Vegas, it just suits it. That's why the cardio's for days. Cain Velasquez, former UFC champion, was famous for his cardio. They called him Cardio Cain, and he was notorious for training in elevation. I saw it after the headbutt. That's when the blood came out. Suarez glove did run across his face. Yep, the thumb. That has nothing to do with the punch. Agree, Afro. Elbow glove had Navarrete was hurting Suarez, not the opposite. Yeah, 100%. Navarrete had a few good moments late after the cut, and it's kind of like psychologically, as the fighter who sees the blood, you get this adrenaline rush. We all know this. We've seen it time and time again. But as the fighter who gets cut as well, something happens. And I think Suarez's best moments were after the cut. And Navarrete was fighting like a man who knew that they were going to stop it. He was trying to end it. So he was running onto a lot of shots that he probably wouldn't have done normally. Elbow glove. The punch caused it. Even the headbutt was not really. I agree. Suarez face, not his nose, eyebrow bridge. Hit Navarrete. That was a legal punch, not a headbutt. Suarez got screwed by the ref. But yeah, it's not necessary. So the ref, Danny, the ref calls it in the moment, but then there's also a commission ringside who has to make the final judgment on was it a punch or a headbutt. So the ref can be overturned. So it's not solely the ref's fault. It is the punch that caused the cut. I don't know why they didn't review it before giving the decision. And Kenneth, that's where the controversy and lies, because I think they did review it, and some of the people are saying that it's in the commission's hands there. So whether you think the fix is in terms of Top Rank not wanting Suarez as the champion, or people being more invested in Navarrete, that's where it gets conspiracy theory. I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on. I know a lot of boxing YouTube content creators are going to make their own opinions and talk trash about one fighter or the other and give you their conspiracy theory, but and rightfully so. Guys, if you're watching this, like this video, comment down below, hit subscribe. We had a huge weekend of boxing. If you follow the betting side of my channel, we won all of our bets. I hit a 14-legger, hit a 5. All the locks of the week came in. The last fight was last night in Tokyo. If you watch Fernando Martinez versus Ioka, Martinez got dropped early and then came back to win that fight. That was a world title fight. That was a fun one. We have Wednesday night boxing here in Sydney. So Americans, your Tuesday afternoon, Sam Goodman fights. This is a guy who was supposed to fight Inoue, and he suffered a cut literally the week of fight week. And I'm interested to see what Goodman looks like. He's not that big of a favorite. He's fighting a tough guy. I'd like to talk to Sam Goodman's camp and be like, what are you thinking having this kid sparring the week of getting the biggest opportunity in your life and suffering a cut due to a headbutt in training? So he probably, he let the ball slip a bit, not getting that Inoue fight, but we'll see what happens. He fights his Wednesday night in Sydney. I'll be doing my breakdown analysis and uploading it today. Thoughts about the Martinez-Ioka fight? Yeah, good call. We just mentioned that. Martinez, it was a close fight. It was closer than I thought it would be, considering how the first fight. Those guys are made for each other. If you guys didn't watch it, fun, electrifying fight. Some styles are just made for each other. And Ioka and Martinez could fight 10 times, and I think it'll be close every single time. I like Navarrete due to his do or die. 100%, Gene. I'm on board with that. I blame the ref and the ring. It's the ringside officials, guys. Yep. For weak decisions, taking away a victory. And that's the thing, man. I think as fans, and it's for Suarez's sake, and you asked Navarrete, he said today on his Instagram through a translator that he wants the rematch. He said that. They're going to make him take 2 months off. Martinez got dropped late. Oh, it was late. What did I say? I'm rambling. He overcame the drop. Will Goodman get another shot at Inoue? It's a good question. You know what I mean? Someone in Inoue's position, I don't know how much, especially at this stage of his career, if the promotion's like backstepping in terms of like, you have a fight signed and then things fall through. There's been instances in boxing, like whether somebody had to pull out due to a cut or somebody had to pull out bad weight cut. Sometimes they don't get re-signed. They just move on. Sometimes they do. And, Ioka Martinez is an example of that. We know Martinez, they were supposed to fight the second time I think it was Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and he had to pull out, and this was the rematch. American History X or Fight Club. Ooh, I like American History X. Fight Club is Fight Club to me. I mean, I like Brad Pitt as an actor. I like Edward Norton as an actor, but I think the storyline with Fight Club to me is a bit too, I'm not kind of like anti, I think it attracts more, the Fight Club fans are more kind of like culty about it. And they're kind of like, it's called Fight Club, so you think it's all about fighting, but it's really about like this anti-government sort of storyline. American History X culturally, I think, as an iconic movie and the questions that it raised in terms of race, division, and then redemption, and then trying to overcome these sort of things, I thought American History X had a more, for me, more, I like the storyline better. So good question. Goodman's brother messed the money up. Mate, agree. If Inoue didn't go up after the Nakatani fight, Goodman might get the chance. That's what I'm saying. Might. We'll see. New Year's Eve. Kenneth Alonso, you keep me on point. I appreciate it. Did any of you guys watch the undercard for the Pro Box? There's a Haitian kid, Velsaint. His last name is Velsaint. He is really an interesting prospect. I think he's a Haitian American. He trains down in South Florida. He fought another big he fought a big I think he's a welterweight, 147, maybe 154. It's the first I ever heard of him, but he looked good. That was a prospect I like. Murataya looked good. Shakur just came out today and said he would fight Murataya. That's a fun fight to think about. Nick Flaz won by knockout. Did you guys watch Kakachi versus Wood? This is I kind of feel for Anthony Kakachi because like a lot of people wanted him to take that Sugar Nunez fight, and as his IBF mandatory, because he didn't take that fight, the IBF takes the belt from him, rightfully so. He got double the money to fight Lee Wood in Lee Wood's hometown in Nottingham, England. It was a great fight. I had to wake up at 2 a.m. here in Sydney to watch that fight. And, mate, if you guys like boxing in terms of energy in the crowds, and it's what we spoke about last week, that Times Square card was so, I felt like partially why it was so suspect and weak because there was no crowd. And inverse to that, you go to the UK and you see the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium crowd with Conor Benn and Eubank Jr. and then the aforementioned Anthony Kakachi versus Lee Wood. Those crowds are freaking electric. And it gives an added element to the fighters, something that you can't put on paper, like an intangible sort of energy. And it was a fun fight. And Lee Wood's a dog coming up to 130. Kakachi just had his number. Kakachi's style, his fan base. I'd like to see him get an international shot. We'll see what happens. Sugar Nunez is a dog. I don't know if they're going to do that fight. We'll see what happens. Fight of the night for me was Hernandez and Crazy A. Good call. Akhmadaliev has a fight on the undercard of Galagos and Kotu. Yeah, you guys are beasts. I love the fight. True Blue Fight fans. We got this weekend. There's some fights on too, all over the world. Like I said, we're starting here in Sydney, or we're starting here in Australia midweek. I don't know if they play the Australian cards in America where you guys are. What's your best combo? Toxic gameplays. Are you talking like me as a fighter? What's my favorite combo to throw when I'm sparring or in the street? Like when I was a kid growing up in Northeast Ohio, we had a street fight a lot. So the only punch I would ever throw in the street fight was my jab. Yeah, so in the streets, if I had to fight, as a kid I used to fight a lot, would just be a straight jab, hit right here. And 10 out of 10 times, it would tell the other dude, I know what I'm doing, they don't know what they're doing, and my dad wouldn't let me throw my right hand in the streets because he didn't want me to hurt anyone. But a jab, I ended more street fights with just a jab than any punch, so that's what I tell people. Straight, boom, right there. In sparring, I love an unorthodox combo. I'm orthodox. So I like leading with my lead uppercut and then following up with the two. Similar to like how Conor used to do it. If you watch McGregor when he was younger in the UFC, he would throw it from the southpaw style, but he would go lead uppercut, boom, overhand. It's one of my favorite combos to throw. Your hair looks like you've been electrocuted. Thank you, Cheesy Bill. I have been electrocuted. You had a power jab. That's the one. Step on it. When you're throwing that power jab, same side, step on it. Skyscraper head. Yeah. My girlfriend says I got a top head. Appreciate it. You should see everything else though if you like my head. All right, guys, we got Martin Navarrete, Lubin, Erickson Lubin. Let's talk about him. Thoughts with the Pacquiao-Barrios. I'm shocked with this announcement. Pacquiao didn't need this fight. Kenneth, I'm shocked as well. I'm not stoked about Pacquiao-Barrios. The longer you tune into my channel, the more you'll understand how I feel about protecting fighters. Now, granted, this isn't Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I don't think this is Manny Pacquiao prostituting his legacy. I think this is Pacquiao at 46, I think he is now, seeing a Pacquiao-Barrios at 147 pounds, that's, I think Manny, he stays in shape. I think he thinks he could beat Barrios, and Barrios isn't a huge puncher, doesn't have one punch knockout power. Um, you know, Pacquiao did have that exhibition recently. He didn't look too good, but I don't know how serious he took that. For him to be able to just walk up into a world title fight, that's insane. I think boxing needs to fix that. You got Tim Tszyu and Seb Fundora on that card. There's some other good fights there. So if it means Manny Pacquiao bringing the whole boxing world's eyes together, and he's healthy enough to do it, I'm actually for that. 46, it's not unheard of. Bernard Hopkins, George Foreman, so it's not unheard of. I just hope he has everything up here. I don't know him personally. That's all I care about. I'd smoke you in one dig. Cool, Cheesy Bell. Cool story. Send location. Berlanga Shiraz, love that fight. Bang Bang Boogie said hi. Berlanga Shiraz, we're gonna get to see Shiraz at 168. Hamza, every time we talk about Shiraz, I have to bring up the draw against Carlos Adames. I reckon I'd beat you with one hand. You would, dude. You'd beat me with one hand, Cheesy Bill. I think this is set. GT, Pacquiao, Bang Bang. Boogie, thoughts on Shakur Zepeda? Matias Puello, love both of those fights. I think Shakur beats Zepeda, and I think that Puello is just too good for Subriel Matias, but I'll break those videos down as we get to fight night. Right uppercut, left hook, straight right, hook to the body, hook to the head, right uppercut, inside, beast. Danny Drew, you know what you're talking about. Okay, Middlesbrough, England, sweet. Send location. Rooting for Tim with an upset knockout for that fight. I'd like to see those odds. I don't know if it would be a huge upset. As a person who fought 2 trained boxers in the street, I thank you for the mercy. I got my butt handed to me, but it could have been much worse. Yeah, my dad. So I was boxing as a 7-year-old. First time I trained at a gym, and that was the rules. If I got into a street fight, I wasn't allowed to throw anything but the jab. You're lucky to have a full hairline at 40s. Yeah, I just turned 43. April 27th was my birthday. So this is 43 years old. I appreciate you guys. Diaz Sanchez, I don't agree to Pac-Man fight for the... Yeah, the WBC. The WBC's out here wild. Just, Manny just come back for a world title fight is pretty insane. Money. It's all about that money. Texas Commission don't care. Dude, that Texas Commission should be embarrassed of themselves. I didn't even cover that fight. Even though I grew up in Northeast Ohio and Jake Paul's from Northeast Ohio, I still struggle covering him on my channel because it's boxing. I don't look at what Jake Paul does. He does a lot for promoting the women's side, which I kudos to Amanda Serrano, what he's done with those careers. Alicia Bumgardner now he's signed, which is great. But to me, he's just a Disney kid YouTuber. Call me old school. 43, bro. Appreciate you. I'm a coach. So I take care of myself. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I pretty much live like a samurai. Manny should not be sanctioned. Agree. If Pacquiao beat Barrios, would set a fight with Davis. Who agrees? Well, they're fighting at 47. Are you Tank? My coach was a 96 Olympian and had a great jab. Dude, the 96 class, was he an American? Because I'm friends with Nate Jones. Nate Jones was coaching Devin in his last fight. He medaled on that 96 Olympic team. Who do you think will win in the intentional Fury versus AJ? It's a good question. What Fury are we going to see? What AJ are we going to see? 43, I need to see the birth certificate. Born in 1982, class of 2000. Google me. Yeah, just type my name and you'll see. My coach fingers me in the back of the gym. Sweet. Cheesy. I like you, mate. He promoted that Daniel Pero Navarro card this weekend, Jake Paul. Yeah, Navarro card. Yeah, so, like I said, the promotional side is good. I don't like him fighting old retired fighters. I don't like him calling out old retired MMA fighters. I don't like him prostituting the sport of boxing. There's a lot of, but that's just me being, an old conservative guy. He was in terms of boxing, he was American. He didn't medal though. Yeah, but when you make it to the Olympics, Toxic, you're a stud. That's what when I'm doing my breakdown analysis, and I have to, do a prediction. If a guy has an Olympic pedigree, it's always something to lean on. It's kind of why Navarrete struggles. Think about Navarrete with Baranchyk. He struggled with Baranchyk's footwork. Baranchyk, former Olympian. Suarez is an Olympian. So Navarrete was struggling with Suarez's feet. And Navarrete's footwork is horrible, always off balance. So I always side, when you come up with an Olympic pedigree, you're going to be technically sound. Moving left to right, front to back. You're going to have a good guard. And so to anybody to even make it to the Olympic level, it's something that not many people could say they've done. So I tip my cap. Johnny, you need to make these dudes are weird. Goat, I appreciate Zachary Stott. Understandable. Do you think Dubois beats Usyk? That's another great fight, guys. I got to sit with that one for a while. Dubois doesn't beat it. Usyk's tough to beat. It's tough to say anybody beats Usyk, right? Do you agree that UK is the best heavyweights? I love UK boxing. The longer you watch my channel, I always talk about the Brits, UK. They're some of my favorite fighters. He and Eric Morales in 2007 never capitalized on it. Eric Morales, it's dog. Love that guy. Jake Paul's an indictment on pop culture as a whole, and it's failing. See, James, we see eye to eye. Do you see? I don't want to say he's an indictment on pop culture. I just don't think he's good for boxing. Do you see Pero? He got dropped twice in round 3, came back to win. Great fight. Quick summary on your thoughts of the Shakur versus Zepeda and how the fight. Okay, so Zepeda, I've covered him a lot on the channel. You guys know I'm a huge Shakur fan. I grew up a Pernell Whitaker fan, and so I just think Shakur has some of that in his style. I think Zepeda is lacking pop, and I think that people will be surprised. I think Shakur will sit there. I bet you Shakur feels comfortable trading with Zepeda, and Shakur has more sort of snap on his punches. I would take Shakur in that fight. Navarrete wasn't in his full potential due to weight. If a rematch happens, Suarez get knocked out. I can't say that wouldn't happen. That's a fun fight, guys. Navarrete is a dog. Suarez. I'm a Suarez fan now, and this is why I love covering boxing. Sometimes we cover fighters. Think about the kid who just fought anyway, Ramon. Fucking my mind slipped. I cover all these goddamn fights. Cardenas. You know, you see fighters for the first time, you cover them, you watch them fight, and sometimes they don't win, but you become fans. Like every time Ramon Cardenas fights, I'm going to tune in. Every time Suarez fights, I'm going to tune in. And this is why you got to love the sport of boxing. Guys, if you're tuning into this, like this video right now. Just hit a like. I appreciate all you guys commenting. I appreciate all the support. Like I said, I'm going to be releasing the Sam Goodman breakdown analysis and prediction tonight, but then we have a whole weekend more of boxing. Check through the predictions. We hit all of our fights this week, and you know I don't do my channel as a gambling channel, but that's one of the elements of the show now that you guys asked for, and we're doing pretty good. So cheers to everyone who's listening there. Navarrete did say today, go to Ring's Instagram right now. They just put a 20-second video of Navarrete saying that he's half and half on the rematch. Shakur will make Zepeda run for his money. Shakur via UD. Shakur's a stud, man. He's not a knockout artist, but if you're a nerd of the sport, if you like the minutia of the technique, of the spaces and everything that it takes to roll with a punch and then counter and then slip and then circle out and to make a knockout artist not even be able to touch you, like that's why people are high on Shakur. But at the same time, the bloodthirsty fans, the ones who just want to see knockouts, that's why they don't like him. And I can see both sides of the argument. I was a really small kid. I didn't grow until my late teens, so I've always been a defensive-minded fighter. I had to be a counter boxer, and I loved counter box. Like I said, Sweepy Whitaker was my favorite fighter as a kid, and I like Shakur because of that. Who's top 5 pound-for-pound fighters of all time? My favorite fighter of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson. I always talk about that. But fighters that I've seen growing up, I grew up in Youngstown, so Boom Boom Mancini, my childhood buddies, Kelly Pavlik. I always going to put Pavlik in my top 5. Sugar Ray, Pernell. It's so hard to do a top 5. Cardenas, what's next for Navarrete? I think Navarrete can do whatever he wants. He has a huge cult following. I'd like to see the Suarez rematch. Sam Goodman has no power, but Sam on points. Yeah, Sam is technically sound, though. Sam has a good skill set. His mental game is there. And I think if you look at the odds, it's the first fight I've seen Sam where the odds aren't like 6-1. This is more like a 3-1 fight, at least with the sports book down here in Australia has the fight at. Who is the best in your opinion and your favorite heavyweight? Favorite heavyweight, Muhammad Ali. Watching all of this tape, just what he meant for the sport. It's a popular opinion. Non-popular opinion, George Foreman. I've interviewed George Foreman. So I've had George on my show before. He's in my first book. He's probably... Great stat about Foreman is after he lost and retired in his first part of the career, it's the craziest stat. So in his mid-20s when he retired, most people think he retired after Ali. He fought Ali, fought a few more times, retired for 10 years, came back to the sport, and took another 10 years, so a 20-year gap, to become a world champion and had to change his whole fight style. He went from this really athletic young Olympian knockout brawler who had quick hand speed to an overweight sort of older guy who had a pair of the jab, and he still, I think it was Moore? Was it, my mind's slipping. Was it Michael Moore when he won the heavyweight title? But yeah, George Foreman is one of my favorite guys. Rest in peace. He was a sweet guy to talk to. And if you want to listen to that interview, it's on this channel. Just go to interviews. You'll see George Foreman. What do you think of Navarrete's defense? Come on, he doesn't have a defense. Navarrete, his hands are down. He jumps at you. But you know what? Against the ropes, his defense is good, Daisy. I take that back. Against the ropes, you know what Navarrete's best attribute of his defense is? Are his instincts. He does have this instinctual ability, and he's not going to be defensively guarded here, and he's not going to be here, but he has this thing. He does what your coach would never say. He goes like that. Rather than moving your back foot to slide out of range, he goes like that. So, like, he does everything unorthodox, and that's why you got to love him. Larry Holmes is the last one. I've interviewed Larry Holmes, too. He's in my book. I told you guys I'm a writer. So by trade, I'm a coach, but I interview people and I write books. And Holmes, the Easton Assassin, one of my favorite guys as well. Abdullah Mason, Ohio kid. Abdullah's from Cleveland, Ohio. He's super exciting. It's crazy when you see young fighters get dropped and overcome that. We think that just because a fighter gets dropped, he's washed. Or like when Abdullah got dropped and then he, in a crazy fight a couple fights ago, oh, he's chinny. He's chinny. It's kind of like when Inoue gets dropped. He's not chinny. He got a chin. For you to get dropped and then get back up and knock your opponent, that's called you have a chin. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you get dropped and it's like Amir Khan style and you get starched, then you become chinny. But for a kid to get dropped and come back up and still win by knockout, that dog, you got a chin. D Cook, D decision, headbutt was nasty. Felix Savon is the biggest, could have been heavyweight in boxing. Man, there's a few of them, right? Do you think Lennox Lewis could have beaten Ali in both their primes? Great question. Lewis was a massive dude. Keep going. Don King and Al Heyman went to the same school 20 years. Don King's from Cleveland, Ohio. Don King murdered people in Cleveland, Ohio back in his heyday. Google that. Oh, yeah. Ohio boxing roots are deep. Ain't that the truth? So in my hometown alone, you got Ernie Shavers right outside of Youngstown, Ohio. Obviously, Ray Boomer Mancini, Kelly Pavlik, and then just 40 minutes north, 50 minutes north in Cleveland, you have all the Cleveland fighters. And then Pittsburgh. Do you guys, Paul Spadafora, the Pittsburgh kid. Spadafora is one of my favorite fighters of all time, too. If you don't know about his career, I think he retired at 49-1. He wanted that. He never got the Floyd Mayweather fight. But Paul Spadafora, the Pittsburgh kid, was nasty. Southpaw, slick, defense off the hook. Go to YouTube and YouTube Floyd Mayweather versus Paul Spadafora sparring. You'll be shocked. I think that orbital fracture has affected Inoue's ability to take a punch to the right side. Could be, but he has that weird thing. He drops his guard all the time in that same spot. Not gonna lie, bro. I want Otha Jones to be so much more pro. Mate, there's so many of these guys, though, toxic, that, you know, they have, like my guy in this generation that I thought would be a world champion was Joshua Kelly, a Brit. He was a UK Olympian, PBK. He's a reflex fighter, but, you know, similar. He came to the States. He had that draw, and then David Evanishan beat him. He only has one loss, but I thought Joshua Kelly was going to be a superstar, and things just haven't panned out. He's still, I think, only 29. He still has time. Lewis is skinny for sure. Oliver McCall, he could pop. It's always that left hook that gets him right. Do you think Sergio Mora is an underrated fighter? Long career. I think Mora, you know, I don't know if he's underrated. I think Mora was more of an overachiever with his career. He did a lot. You know, I just don't think the casual fan understands, you know, how good he was, because he was in that era right before social media. Spadafora had tattoos before they were trendy. Dude, Paulie Spadafora, man, the Pittsburgh kid was a dog. Josh Kelly, fake Lomachenko. Or they were calling Kelly the fake, what were they calling Josh? They were making, yeah, people hate on Josh. I think he's dope. He's a good dude, too. We want the rematch next Saturday. Win, lose, or draw, Navarrete, my favorite fighter. What a dog. Love Navarrete. Very high on him. Any fighter that's going to go in there and throw it all away. That's what my coach used to say. Are you going to throw it all away? You got to throw it all away at the time, at least in my gym as a kid, was like, you got to give everything. Like, whatever's holding you back, why you're not fighting at your highest level, why you're getting beat by a guy that you could beat, you got to throw it all away. And Navarrete does that every single fight. And you know damn well if there was no commission, he wouldn't have stopped fighting. He would have fought until that thing would have flipped over. Don't mind a rematch. Cornelius Brundridge, underrated too, 100%. Navarrete never takes his diet seriously, which is why he was always struggling. 100 diet, nutrition, lifestyle. Guys, like this video, comment, stay tuned to the channel. I got to run. I got a client. Like I said, I'm a strength coach. That's what keeps the bills on. This is my passion project. You guys are awesome. Stay tuned to the channel. Like this, subscribe, and share this. And we got a busy week of fights. I'm covering everything from Australia to the States. And I appreciate your support, guys. I got to run.